All right, so in class we learned how to write different names for mixed numbers. And one of the ways we thought about that was making some fair trades. So let me write this one. We're going to start here at number 3 over here so it's a little easier to see. 2 and 4/5, okay? So one way I could go about it was to trade a whole for 5/5. So I could trade one whole for 5/5. So I could trade a whole. So if I do that, I have one whole, and then I have to add that 5/5 that I traded for over to my fractional part here. So 4/5 plus another 5/5 that I got from that whole is now 9/5. So another name for 2 and 4/5 could be 1 and 9/5. I could also make a trade again. So if I'm at 1 and 9/5, I could also trade my last whole, okay, for another 5/5. So I could trade another whole, one whole, for 5/5. So if I do that, I have no wholes left. I have to add that 5/5 onto my 9/5, and I got 14/5. Okay, so just making some fair trades to help us rename fractions. Okay, let me do another one. Let me get rid of the work I have here. So my next one is 1 and 12/10. Okay, so I could also go the other way. If I look at 12/10, I realize that's an improper fraction, so I could make another whole. I could create another whole over here. So I could trade 10/10 here. So let me write that down here. I could trade 10/10 for a whole. So I could trade 10/10 for a whole. So if I do that, I now have, I want to add that whole that I got, add that 10/10 over here. So I now have two wholes, and I have to trade, I'm trading that 10/10, so I only have 2/10 left over. So another name for 1 and 12/10 could be 2 and 2/10. I could also look at my 1 and 12/10 and think to myself, well, I could also, like we did in the other problem, I could trade one whole for more tenths. So I could trade my whole for 10 more tenths even. And if I would do that, then I would have 0 wholes left. I got 10 more tenths for that trade that I just made. So now I have 22 tenths. And 22 tenths is another name for 1 and 12/10, or another name for 2 and 2/10, like we had come up with. Okay? So those are just some ways that you can use, some strategies to help you rename mixed numbers that we went over in class.